Alright, how's it guys, and welcome to my first ever gaming tutorial video. I'm doing a tutorial on the character Lann for the game Vindictus. This will be the first one that I've ever done. For the sake of brevity, I will be quick. This is for a competition that is being held on the Vindictus forums. There'll be a link down in the description if you want to see the details. The things that you can expect to see in this tutorial, over on the left will be the table of contents. There will be buttons that you can click, annotations that you can click at any time, and it'll take you to the specific points in the video. Down at the bottom will be notes to explain anything that I might have missed and or to showcase what has been recently updated, as that guard walks behind me. Things that have been added in the Lann revamp update that came just a little bit ago. And then over on the right will be stats and information when I get to things such as armor, swords, skills, things like that. So, let's jump into it, shall we? Appearance-wise, you can already see that Lann is a relatively small character, very short in stature actually, and probably one of the youngest characters appearance-wise in the entire game. He was one of the first characters that was developed and acts as a twin sword user specifically for melee. He's a close combat fighter who doesn't exactly hit heavy, but hits quite a bit. He's got a lot of very fast attacks. He's good for your typical button masher playstyle, or mouse masher, however you want to say it. So, if you love to just run around and click for fast swinging, Lann is your guy. Statistically speaking, Lann has a range of different stats that each one serves a different purpose. When it comes to attack power, he has a moderately high strength and max attack, as you can see from my stats here. And those are those are very important actually, because you need those, because the higher attack you have, the higher strength you have, the more damage you do. His agility is also extremely high, because higher agility, again, means more damage that you can deal. His balance is very high. The higher your balance, the more damage you can do per swing. Critical damage is a very important stat that he has, and it's good to keep this one extremely high, because higher critical attacks are the main source of Lann's power. If you land a crit hit, that's important because it can trigger some of his skills that we'll get into later. Moves that aren't things that aren't very important are his intelligence, his luck, and for the most part his defense. Those ones you don't need to really worry about getting up. But his strength and his willpower are two ones that you should really focus on getting up. Willpower being because willpower is what increases your chances of getting a critical hit. So, high willpower equals high damage. The last thing that you should make note of when you're fighting with Lann is his smash attacks, which are attacks that do heavy amount of damage, or for mouse users, a right click. It's his heavy attack, and it does about, I would say, 10 times as much damage. During the Lann skill revamp, this smash attack was increased, or had damage increased, as well as applied to many of his attacks. Lann is really just a combo fighter for melee. Different combos of clicks result in different attacks, resulting in different amounts of damage, resulting in badass. So, remember your smashes, people, because you gotta smash the shit out of people. Next, we will be focusing on each of Lann's skills. I will touch upon each of the combat-based skills, as well as the skills specifically for Lann's twin swords, as that's what this guide is for, Twin Swords Lann. Afterwards, I will touch on some of the skills that he has that are non-combat based, only the ones that are important for Twin Swords Lann though. The rest you'll have to learn on your own in the game by experimenting or creating a different character. I'll demonstrate them myself, or have one of my lovely assistants demonstrate them as I talk. So, let's get into it, shall we? As we move into the skills, I'm going to break this section up into 4 different groupings, or segments. One focused around basic statistics, one focused around critical hits, one focused around combo moves, and one focused around active moves. So, starting with the basic moves, or basic abilities, skills, we move into the most basic one that is the most universal, which is the Combat Mastery. Combat Mastery, when ranked up, increases the power of your normal attacks, which is, in essence, the basis of Lann's attacks, because it's just combos. Increase this whenever you can. As you can see, mine is ranked 9 and I'm only level 35. Because the more you have this ranked up, the more damage you do. The more damage you do with a regular hit, the more you do with combos. So, get this up. Defense Mastery is the next basic stat increase that you have. Not quite as necessary because, as you'll see later, defense isn't quite a necessity for Lann if you know how to use him correctly. Though it's a good idea to get this up as it does boost your defense, which means you take less damage when you do get hit. So, increase this when you feel it is necessary. Smash Mastery is the third basic skill that you need, and this is another part that is the essence of Lann's fighting style, because smashes are what make up his combos. They're the finishing moves as well as the key to using some even stronger combos that you'll see later. So, the higher you get up your Smash Mastery, the more damage you'll do with your heavy attacks, aka the right click that I showed you before. So, try and get this up as high as you can when you can. Slip Dash is the next skill that is going to be featured in our little skill list. Slip Dash and Nimble Dash, which is a key component that goes hand in hand with Slip Dash, is a type of dodging move that is perhaps one of the most overpowered moves in all of Vindictus. It gives you temporary invulnerability while moving and allows you to slip around almost any attack and dodge, which you can then follow up with a couple of different moves that we'll see later on. But all it is simply while running a double tap. You slide around, and you can move in any direction that you choose. Now we are moving into the critical hit aspect, which is the source of Lann's major damage dealing. Critical hit and critical damage are two moves that again go hand in hand, because they both affect the damage and percentage of damage, or the likelihood of landing a critical hit. For lower levels, I would advise ranking up critical damage when you get the chance, because that affects the actual damage you inflict by 10, 15, 20, etc. depending on the skill level. But as you get into higher levels, you should start focusing on the critical hit skill, because that not only increases your chances of getting a critical hit, that also increases the damage that you do based on the amount of attack power that you already have. So, higher level means higher damage. So rank up your critical hit as much as you can, when you can. The next move that goes into the critical hit area is a move called Lightening Fury. Lightening Fury is a move that is, for the most part, random. It applies whenever you successfully use a move called Windmill or you get a critical hit. It increases your damage because it's an additional smash attack that you can use at the end of any combo. So, getting this and ranking it up slightly will be a good idea, but it's not something that is excessively necessary. Just get it so you can use it, and then upgrade it whenever you feel like. Next move that we have is a move directly coming off of the Gliding Fury, and that is Lightning Fury. Lightning Fury is a combo move that is used after a successful attack by the Gliding Fury that increases damage by 10% and knocks down your opponent. So, my lovely assistant will now demonstrate on this asshole who has pinned me up against a tree, if I'll stop lagging. And he died. The next move that we have featured here is not so much a move reliant on critical hits, but allows you to set up for a critical hit, specifically Gliding Fury that we mentioned previously, and that is the Windmill. Windmill is a counter move that is reliant on your character getting knocked down, because if you right-click at the proper time, once you get knocked down, you can then flip back up. That wasn't what I meant to do. You can flip back up and have a chance to knock down and or possibly kill your own opponents. So, keep an eye out for when you get hit and get knocked down. That way you can flip back and dish the damage out tenfold. Knock me down already! There we go. Spin attack. Did knock him down. I don't care. Spin attack. The next ability that we have is a new ability called Critical Break, which was also added in the Lann skill revamp. The effect of Critical Break is that it increases your maximum critical rate limit, which means that you can buff your chances of getting a critical hit higher than anyone else. So, you're basically turning your Lann into a critical hit factory machine thing. So, upgrade this when you get the chance, but it's not really necessary. Just do it as you see fit. The last move that we have in the critical hit range is the move called Risky Wind, which was also added by the Lann skill revamp. The way Risky Wind works is that it activates after you do a successful slip dash to avoid an enemy attack. It gives you a buff called Wind Rider, which prevents you from the usage of stamina and increases your critical hit chance and damage. Alright, so the first move that we have here in the Lann Smashes is a move called Raging Fever, which is the first one that you will activate. Raging Fever is a really simple twin sword uppercut, as you see in the little demonstration here, which I will be demonstrating myself. Simply uses 250 SP, not very serious, so here we go. Wait. Little lag, but you get the point. Ow. The next move that we have in the active moveset list is a big hammer to the face, Berserker Spirit. Berserker Spirit, as you can see here, is a move that temporarily increases your attack and hits them really hard. The next one is Slashing High, which Slashing High does two things. One is it buffs your standing endurance, so you can't get knocked down. You can still get hit, but you can't get knocked down, and you also take less damage. And then it also prevents you from losing as much SP, if some at all, depending on the move. And then the last one is Lightning Fury, which doesn't have a demonstration video because it's brand new, it was added recently. But basically what it does is the move Lightning Fury that we demonstrated earlier gets increased attack power as long as this buff is active. So it makes it basically your trump card. So when you get Lightning Fury for twin swords, if you're a big fan of using Lightning Fury, buff this up quite a bit. So my lovely assistant will now demonstrate one of the buffer moves. So Unleash Hell! But don't hit Fluffy, no! You can see his hands are glowing, so he's doing a lot more damage now. And the last active move that we have is probably the most overpowered Lann move out there. Active Fury number 7. Fury number 7 is a move that basically takes Gliding Fury, speeds it up, gives it 10 times more power, makes you do it 7 times in a row, and then sends the enemy to hell. So my lovely assistant will now demonstrate it on me. Go for it. Ow! Okay! Well, that just happened. Okay, now we're going to demonstrate the various combo moves that Lann has, which is just a combination of clicks and sometimes slip dashes. Basically, all you do is a slip dash and then spam left click. And it's just thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of little hits. This one is just a simple left click, right click. So it'd simply be hit, hit, smash. It is simply swing, 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 and then a rotation attack. Can you guess how many clicks it takes? That's right, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, smash, smash. Just kidding. The final combo move that we have is a move called Gusting, which isn't really a combo, it's just a smash attack. But you can power it up. You can do one of two things. You can run and stab, or you can stand and charge it up for a decent period of time, and then smash. Last but not least, we have the other skills in training, restoration, and equipment. I'm just going to cover the skills that are necessary for Lann. Next thing that I'm going to talk about, and I'm just going to be brief, are your transformations. And for those of you who don't really know, transformations are good. You can learn about it on your own. I don't have time for that. But there are 2 different transformations that you can take, Paladin and Dark Knight, and each one does different things. For the Dark Knight, it increases your attack, magic attack, which doesn't really matter for Lann, your max stamina, and your max HP. Paladin does the same thing, but Paladin will also increase your defense. The difference between the two is that Dark Knight increases your attack by a lot more. The one thing that makes it a bit of a handicap is that Dark Knight hits the attack level cap, so once you hit your cap, you can't grow your attack any higher, and that's where you would rely on your critical resistance. Or critical hits, sorry. Whereas Paladin doesn't have an attack cap because it doesn't reach it quite as high, but it doesn't have a defense cap, which is what makes it overpowered. However, I would advise for Lann's, if you know how to master the slip dash, again, the most overpowered dodging move ever, if you know how to master the slip dash and can avoid getting hit, or at least avoid as much as possible, you don't really need to rely on that boosted defense and can focus on attack. So Lann is one of the few characters that I would advise becoming a Dark Knight. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to be covering is Lann's different twin swords. For the sake of brevity, I am simply going to visually display the swords like this as I talk about the ones that I feel would be the best ones for you to get in your general level order. And then over on the right, all the stats and information will be displayed for you to look at, analyze, do whatever. So, yeah, you can pause it at any time. So, let's move on. Your beginning swords that you get will be relatively fine until you get to level 10, at which point I would advise getting the Jagged Tooth Twin Swords. Jagged Tooth is relatively nice design, decent attack, balance, increases your critical chance until you get to level 16, at which point you would need to upgrade your Twin Sword Mastery to level E and then get the Twin Red Metal Longswords. Twin Bone Spiked Longswords, which are the ones that I have currently. So the next thing that I would advise getting is the Blade of Yikesha. But there is another version of the Blade of Yikesha, which is called, actually I don't remember what it is. You want to go for this guy. Serenity. That's not it. Serenity! The next one you want is these guys right here, the Ivory Twin Swords. The best swords that you can get at level 60 are the Dreamwalker Twin Swords, which is the level 70 sword that I would advise is a sword called Benediction. And finally, we have the Grand Master of all twin swords, the Noble S Twin Swords. So now we're going to move on to the armor sets, which again, I am only going by suggestion and some stuff that I get off of a forum guide, which I'll link down below. Okay, so the first set that we have that I advise you get is the Exquisite Crimson Rage set. The next one that we have is the Exquisite Savage Leather set. Now this is one of the sets that I would say if you just get the regular instead of the Exquisite, that would be fine because you won't be keeping it for too terribly long. So Polar Bear, which is the set that I am currently wearing, the Sharpshooter set. The next set that we have here, which again is free armor but has good stats to boot, is the Elite Commander set. The next one that we have is kind of a creepier looking set, the Exquisite Nightmare Set. Now we're moving into the 50s as we focus on the Sinister Halfplate, which is one of the best suits of armor specifically for Lann that are out there. Those are boots again. Now we move into the real armor sets for level 70s. And what a better armor set for Lann than the Apocryphal set. I could be saying that wrong, I don't know. The last armor set that we have, which actually isn't on the board either, is level 80 set, simply known as the Pirate set, which is the hardest to get, but the best armor set in the game for the male characters. Alright guys, that wraps up my Lann guide. I hope you guys found this tutorial as helpful as I can be, crunching it down within my time constraints. I know I was brief and I'm sorry about that, but I hope you liked the video. And for those of you who are watching for judging, I hope that you guys enjoyed the video just as much, if not even more so. I tried my best with the time that I had. If you guys have any questions, you can ask me down in the comments below, or for those of you on the Vindictus forums, you can ask me on the Vindictus forums. So like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will see y'all later. Take care.